Hi guys, welcome to the garden. If you've ever had the pleasure of growing Tayberries, which is a hybrid berry that is a cross between a blackberry and a raspberry, as shown here by our first ever berry, which has a lovely deep red colour and a taste which is a wine-like blend between the two, you'll know they perform best when attached to some form of trellis or support system. And so today, I'm going to be taking one of our Tayberries here that I grew from a cutting, which let's just say has well and truly outgrown its little pot here, and I'm going to be potting up slightly different and creating a support system. But rather than doing a trellis, a traditional trellis against a fence like my other one, I'm going to be creating a little Tayberry tower, which I'm going to spiral this cane round, and we'll see how it goes. A little bit of an experiment really. So I wanted to keep it as natural look as possible. So we actually have some hazel bushes that form a hedge outside the front of our house. So I thought, before the council come and cut it away, I'll beat them to it and grab a few of these fresh cuttings that will make perfect stakes in a kind of hexagonal pattern that I can wrap these, well, one of these canes round. So when I actually came to moving this plant, originally I was like, oh, brilliant, I've got 2 shoots. But on closer inspection, this, fortunately the smaller one, has actually been well and truly ravaged by what looks like scale insects, which I did a video on previously if you want to check that out. So what I'm going to do is simply remove this most effective cane all the way to the base, taking with it all those pesky scale insects, and hopefully what that will do is all the energy that's being stored in their roots over winter will be pushed into this single cane here, pushing out some more lateral growth, which will then form the flowers and hopefully the eventual fruit. So before I move this Tayberry from its pot, there are a few additional lateral branches that I'm just going to trim back, just so it makes it easier when I actually go to forming that spiral structure. Because believe me, there's a reason why I'm wearing gloves. These aren't like my lovely thornless raspberries, they are pretty damn sharp. When it comes to pruning Tayberries, they are just like loganberries and blackberries in that they fruit on second year growth, known as floricanes. So leave any canes from the previous year and cut back any to just above soil level for those that have already fruited. So I do actually already have a load of soil in this container, and that's because it recently was harbouring some of my raspberries that I've been propagating for one of my friends, which you can already see has a lovely root system, so hopefully he'll appreciate those. So in terms of the potting mix, really, it's my bog standard for most cane fruits, and that's a kind of 60% compost, 40% topsoil mixture, just so that it's well draining and also has a sufficient amount of organic matter to supply the plant with some nutrients. No fertilizer today because I'll add that when I top it up in spring. So just going to check the depth. I do need to actually move a little bit because it's quite high. Oh, there's still a couple of micro roots in here from the raspberries, so wouldn't be surprised if a couple may sprout, but look, extra fruit at the end of the day, and I'll just put them somewhere else. Okay, let's check that for level. That's better. Right, so classic move when it comes to potting up the plants, always a good strategy. Put the pot in place, then add your soil around it. And what that will do is it will provide a nice, lovely shape for it. I'm actually thinking about the logistics here. Might move it slightly to the edge because it will make it a little bit easier to spiral it round, just so I don't have to put a harsh angle and potentially snap this. So let me just adjust that now. There we go, that's better. Just need a tad more soil. Okay, if I now remove that pot, leave me a nice little mould in its place. So what I'll do now, I'll tease the roots out of this one, give the pot a little squeeze, and it should fit perfectly into that gap I've created. Okay, this one is a little bit root bound compared to that blueberry plant I planted the other day, so we'll tease the roots out ever so slightly, just to encourage them to grow into this surrounding pot. Okay. So planting it there with that cane right at the edge so it can coil around a bit easier. Okay, just make sure it's all level. Just give it a little press down to ensure that the hole we created has merged with the sides of the existing soil from the previous pot. I'm happy with that. Time to build our hazel trellis. So I did actually remove all of the buds off these hazels just in case somehow they took from these cuttings. I mean, they're not renowned for growing like willow, where you can pretty much take a branch off, shove it in the soil, and you'll get a new tree. Large majority of the time. How many have I got here? 6. So I'll do a bit of a hexagon shape. Make sure these are all roughly the same height. Okay, so just going to attach these together at the top with a bit of wire, and then I'll get to weaving these in. Right, that looks like it's holding. So let's get to spiraling our Tayberry around this tower. So I've got to be a little bit careful. 1, because I don't want to get smacked in the face by these thorns. And 2, because it's already starting to harden off on these canes. I don't want to do too harsh of an angle that I actually snap the branches. So I'm going to tie these in as I go with just a little bit of wire that's coated in rubber, again, so it doesn't dig into the plant when it starts to grow next year. So I'm going to make sure there's just enough space that they will be able to grow these laterals. I think I'll tie another one in here. I'll do a loop round here. Just making sure there's enough space that they will have the ability to create lateral branches that the berries will form off. Just tuck that in there, the top. And now that we've got the desired length, I'm just going to cut back the top, because it's only a little wispy bit of growth anyway, so I doubt many berries are going to actually form on that. The bulk of the berries will be at this midsection here, where the cane's at its thickest. So there we go, all finished. And I'm actually really happy with the way this has turned out. It's got a nice natural looking vibe to it. And fingers crossed, come June, July, when these Tayberries are ripened, I'll be able to harvest them and give you a bit of an update. So I'm just going to finish off by watering it in. But otherwise, hope you've enjoyed the video.